Looking for a vacation destination with a rich history, friendly locals, and a lot of moose? Well, welcome to Sweden. Situated in northern Europe, right near the Gulf Stream, Sweden sits at 173,860 square miles, with 2/3 of that area covered by forests. This country has a temperate climate with an average temperature of 66 to 77 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer and 27 to 30 degrees in the winter. North Sweden typically has a long winter, and South Sweden has a longer summer. Sweden is unique because it experiences midnight sun, meaning that the sun never sets during June through July, and polar nights, where the sun never rises during winter for a few months of each year. In terms of politics, Sweden works under a parliamentary democracy. Elections are held every 4 years and approximately 7 million people vote. Citizens have a right to information, hold demonstrations, and form political parties. The Swedish parliament makes decisions and the government implements them. The government also submits proposals for new laws or law amendments to parliament. Culturally, Sweden is a dream. It has a population of around 10 million people. They form an open and diverse society with freedom of speech, equality, and no discrimination. One of the key characteristics of Swedish culture is that the Swedes are egalitarian in nature, humble, and find boasting absolutely unacceptable. In many ways, Swedes prefer to listen to others instead of ensuring that their own voice be heard. Behaviors in Sweden are strongly balanced towards lagom, or everything in moderation. Excess, flashiness, and boasting are abhorred in Sweden, and individuals strive towards the middle way. But for all that goodness, Sweden still feels the impacts of climate change. There has been an average temperature increase by 1 degree from the 1990s to 2008. The winter of 2007 was the warmest one they've had since 1858. Surface water temperature has risen by 4 degrees in the Baltic Sea, and recently, a glacier on Sweden's Kebnekaise mountain melted away so much that it lost its status as the country's highest point. During July of 2018, researchers found that the glacier had lost 4 meters of snow, meaning that an average of 14 inches melted each day of July. The amount of humus soils in the drinking water is increasing, requiring expanded and improved water purification techniques. High temperatures, drought, and devastating wildfires over the summer have also been linked to climate change, which has had negative consequences on crops, as well as animals such as reindeer and elk. Sweden's future climate is expected to be wetter, with an increase in intense rain events. Most of the increase in precipitation will be during the winter. There is relatively widespread agreement between a large number of models that the temperature in Sweden and Scandinavia will rise by more than the global average. Changes in precipitation and temperature will affect groundwater levels. Increased rainfall may lead to higher groundwater levels by up to tens of centimeters. However, in the southeastern parts of the country, groundwater levels are expected to decrease. So, how is Sweden dealing with all of this? Quickly and effectively. Sweden was the first country to establish an environmental protection agency in 1967. In 1972, Sweden hosted the first UN conference on the environment, which led to the creation of the United Nations Environment Program, the leading global environmental authority to this day. Sweden's goal is to reduce GHG emissions by 40% by the year 2020 and to stop using fossil fuels completely by 2030. Currently, more than half of Sweden's national energy supply comes from renewables. In 1995, Sweden became one of the first countries to introduce a carbon tax. This excise tax, placed on carbon-intensive fuels such as oil and natural gas, has helped actively reduce dependency on fossil fuels. It is considered one of the least expensive means of reducing CO2 emissions. In 2012, Sweden's environmentally related tax revenue was 2.52% of their GDP. Additionally, the Swedish government provides households with ways to save energy. Investments in environmental research and development have made Sweden an innovation leader for several clean energy technologies, including biofuels, smart grids, and carbon capture and storage. Since Sweden accounts for less than 0.2% of total global emissions, this country could easily have gone unnoticed in the climate debate. Instead, Sweden has chosen to do more than many other countries on issues regarding energy and climate.